If you are just joining us here at Studio 10, we'd like you to meet a very, very special young man. His name is Damian Tomlinson. He's been on our panel this morning and will be for the rest of the morning. Talk us through, you've got such an extraordinary story. You've written a book about it, but you actually lost both your legs in a roadside blast in Afghanistan.
Yeah, on a direct action task that we had at about 11:30 at night. So, I mean, it's quite a testament to the way that people, you know, the resolve that soldiers show and how skilled our special forces are. The fact that they could keep me alive for
you
the 56 minutes.
You weren't expected to live, though, were you?
No. I mean, even the guys, when they put me on the chopper, apparently didn't think that I was going to survive. So they burnt some of the stuff that they'd had to cut off me in the process of triage, and yeah.
Do you remember any of that moment?
No, I can't even remember the day before. Wow. You know, and I actually did something that one of the other boys has told me. It's an inside story, but yeah, I did something that day that I would have been quite proud of and happy with what I'd done, and I had no idea that it had happened. You know, I can.
So show the viewers what you just did to me off camera. You should see what you did.
Absolutely.
Because these are amazing prosthetic limbs that you've...
Amazing.
It's all about yoga and coconut water. Right? Yeah.
David just does a lot of Bikram yoga.
That's it. Coconut water, it'll help you.
So tell us what happened on that day. It's obviously your mates would have put it together for you and told you what actually happened when...
Yeah, so I've got the story. I mean, I try not to prod for the story, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
The guys have got it tattooed on their mind for the rest of their life, which is something that I don't really want to dig for it, if you know what I mean. It's one of those things that you'd rather just let people, they can come to you with the story as it goes. But what we're doing was moving into an overwatch position. We had a specific target that was down in a valley. One of the platoons were doing an assault on the compound that had that target in it. We were moving up with snipers to basically give support. It wasn't likely that we were actually going to have to do anything that night. We were sort of just moving up to relax and sort of sit back with snipers. And then I was the fifth car in the convoy. You're driving each other's wheel tracks. Everyone's under night vision. It's all green. And then, bam.
Out of nowhere.
And so, Damian, how then do you cope with what has happened to you? How do you deal with that day to day?
I mean, it becomes everything's exciting, everything's new, everything's different. I think you just reach that stage. My first mental part of the process was I felt guilty. I was in a hospital room. You know, I'm laying there. It's like 23 degrees. It's perfect. I can sleep all day if I want, which I hadn't been able to do for 3 years or something like that. You know, I mean, I get 3 meals a day that are all warm. And I just felt guilty, you know. I was sitting back and the guys who'd saved my life could be walking, you know, like 15 kilometres into a target to do a job, not sleeping the next night and then walking out.
But had you registered then that you'd lost your legs?
I think it was sort of a gradual process. There was a lot of pain involved. I mean, I had my right elbow was shattered quite badly, so was the wrist, the hand. This wrist was apparently off on an angle like that. So it was a matter of mitigating the amount of pain that I could suffer, which obviously keeps you off you're off in sort of fairyland. I mean, I did have a moment in the ICU where I mentioned, you know, that I think, you know, I've actually come to grips with the fact I've just lost my legs, guys, you know, this is going to be a bit heavy. And then, but I mean, from there, it's always you work into something forward. So mine was I wanted to show the boys, you know, they hadn't lost anything. So I was standing there at the airport. So no matter what it took, I was going to be standing there. It didn't matter how much it hurt. It's my job to make sure that the guys can mentally deal with what they've had to see.
That's such a measure of a
The
man.
attitude is just extraordinary. Your selflessness, the fact that you're constantly thinking of your... I mean, I'm a cynical man. I don't get impressed easily. That's amazing.
You are also the face and ambassador for the 2 Minutes of Silence app. Talk to us how this all came about.
Minute of Silence.
Minutes of Silence. What did I say? Sorry.
2
minutes. Apologies.
You can do it twice.
You can do it twice.
You can. You definitely can. Yeah. That's it. It's all about the donation. The Minute of Silence campaign was something. The RSL are really conscious of the fact that at the moment there seems like, not seems like, but they are worried that people will view veterans in two separate ways. That there is a gap between the image of a veteran that you see, you know, the ageing man with hair growing out his ears playing a poker machine in an RSL club, as opposed to the 19-year-old veteran who's just returned from Afghanistan. And
how old are you?
I'm 32.
Right, 32-year-old.
And the concept was, how do we engage the younger audience? How do we make a donation relevant? And smartphones and tablets, everything like that. I mean, they're things that young people use, so it's something that we could engage through the Minute of Silence website, and you can then share it on your social media.
Yeah.
So it becomes accessible. All of a sudden it takes cash, card, and plus you don't have to actually come across a veteran who's carrying badges and money tin in the street.
And what's the donation?
So the donation is $2.26.
And who does it support?
It supports Defence Care in New South Wales and subsidiaries of the RSL that deal with looking after veterans, whether it's with advocacy or medical trips, anywhere that there's a hole that the government or organisations that they deal with don't fill. That's where that money goes. So 2,000 families benefited last year.
That is fantastic.
Great cause.